Okay, g'day again everyone. Okay, we're back on to doing these fairings. I'm rather keen to get this done. Yeah. More keen just to get the bike out to the shed more than anything. Have room for other things and to get it finished. I mean, I started these nearly 2 years ago. And then, as I said in other videos, I lost interest because of the lockdown bullshit. Anyway, right. So what we've had to do, I've had to chop and change them, as I've said in other videos. They were moulded off the originals, and I just didn't like the way it went over the engine, and the lines didn't run parallel with the rocker covers on the engine, and to me it just looked silly. I didn't like it, so I chopped and changed that, and cut it and stuck bits of cardboard in there, partied over it, glassed over it, and because I've been chopped and changed several times. In case you hadn't seen any of the other videos, the whole purpose of this was to run, high-low pegs, forward-mounted pegs. And you couldn't do that because they had this big square edge and you just couldn't get your leg in there. So I've had to make a copy of the originals and then chop out some pieces so I can get my legs onto where I've mounted these pegs. And so as I said, I've chopped and changed them probably 3 times now. And now I've got the issue in that whilst it still fitted the top half of the main fairing, it no longer fitted the plastics on the side and didn't fit up to them properly. And so I taped up the plastics on the bike, fitted these in place, and then had putty right up to the other plastics, and then clean up the putty, and then I've glassed over it, and hopefully it won't alter again and they'll actually fit this time, or stay fitting. The issue I've got now is when you're doing it on the bike and you're doing one side at a time, you're looking at one side at a time. And when you take them off and sit them side by side, you realise how different they are. Like this here, I'm gonna fill this too. I've actually got a dish here, and over here I've got too much curve. Dished again there. But when I take this curve out, it'll correct that. So that'll be fill again on the top with putty, glass over that, fill underneath with putty, glass over it, and grind all this off, back to the putty, and then glass it again. On this side, I've got the opposite. This side's pretty much the right shape. This is pretty good. It's got a fairly nice flow to it, but it's rounded here, whereas the other one's actually dished. So I'll make the other one flat, but I'm going to have to fill the underside of this and glass the underside of this, and then grind this off again so that it's flat. So there's still a bit of work to be done. I added pieces on here because it didn't fit up to the bike as nicely as I wanted. Did the same here. Added the bit onto it. Cut off this piece that was sticking out. I'll probably cut this one off here too just yet. I don't know why I haven't already, but it's no need for those bits. They don't really do anything. So yeah, so we've still got a bit of work to do. So if you're ever attempting to do this, like sometimes, like if you're just making an exact copy of it because it's broken, you can usually get it happening first go. You know, glass it, clean it up, paint it, not an issue. But yeah, when you're chopping and changing things like this, prepared for a whole lot of work, a whole lot of time, a whole lot of fiberglass. Just sort of keeps going. And yeah, we're getting there now. As I said, we're just finishing off a few things, making it the two sides sort of look similar. Probably doesn't matter that much. I mean, I didn't notice how different they were when they were on the bike. So it's a possibility that if I finished them as they were, stuck them back on the bike, you still wouldn't notice. But yeah, because I got them side by side here, I can see that they're different. If I don't correct it, it'll just bug me. And when I do get on the bike, I'll see it. I'll know that they're not the same. So for that reason, I have to keep going with it now, because that's how I am. We did get our wind deflectors done. We've got a coat of primer on the mirror covers. They're basically a guide coat and a rub, and they're ready for paint. So nothing more to do to them. These ones, I've put a real heavy coat, and that's because of unevenness in the putty and pinholes and whatever. And yeah, I don't know if you can. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, it's big daggy runs out. I just coated that on and over and over and over and over, and even took the gun right up close to blow it into the holes, into the pinholes, make sure I fill them all. So yeah, that'll get rubbed with 240 and wet 240, and then it'll get a light coat of primer again. And I'll do a final fit as well before I primer them, just to make sure they're right. As with the fitting too, this is something I don't get how this happens. Like these were moulded in place. I masked all of this up. I masked up the main fairing on the bike, laid the glass on it in place, and these should have remained a perfect fit. And yet, I got to where this stage to the finishing off, puttying up, and I could see gaps right around the edge. They're no longer fitting properly, so I don't know if the base is distorted when I've been putting the glass on the tops and on the sides or something. But yeah, I've then had to go along, as you can see, mask it all up again, or mask up the bike, I mean, not this part, and then push putty underneath it, under the edges, so that I've got a nice close fitting seam, and yeah, I'll put a rubber gasket or something that, I don't know, probably a full bit of inner tube glued on there, or maybe some self-adhesive strip. I'm not sure what I'll do, but yeah, I will put a rubber around that after it's painted. Yeah. But yeah, as I said, they're basically done. A bit of finishing off now, and yeah, so we're getting there. Back on this thing, there's one big issue with this. You can see this is a fairly sharp rise here. On this, it's much more shallow. And the reason for this is actually lower than this one. And whilst they look, a lot different at this point, you got them side by side. They both actually look similar when you get them on the bike. like there's only a 1/2 inch gap between the fairing and the rocket cover on the engine. But, you know, if I made them the same, which they were to begin with, there's like, oh, sorry to be swinging back and forth, but it's a 1/2 inch gap on this, and there was 1.5 inch gap on the other side. And, you know, that actually took me a little while to figure out what was going on. But, yeah, because it's a V motor, see, one lot of cylinders is further back than the other lot. You know, this right-hand side is further back, and that's what makes the difference. And, you know, if you make the two the same, I said the gap between this and the engine makes it not look right. So that's what I've gone with, is to make it match the engine. And so anyway, got a whole lot of work now to do again. I'll trim these up. I said I'll put a bit of putty in here, put some glass on that. Isn't any more outside glass to be done anywhere. Actually, probably, well, I've got a mount there. Yeah, I don't think I can really build that up yet anymore. I'll have to just take it off. So this area here is too high. So yeah, so it's going to be 2 lots of fibreglass, because you can't glass it and then just turn it over, or it's wet or fall off. So I'm going to have to putty glass that, turn it over, and then do the inside. And I'll do this one at the same time on the inside. Try and flatten it off, as I mentioned before. Okay. Thanks for watching. Hope I haven't bored you enough.